Hey guys, so today I want to talk to you about the 6 steps that will help you transition to a vegan diet. So whether you want to do that diet for a while just to check it out and see how it is, maybe for like 3 months or something like that, or you have some health issues, or you have some ethical reasons, and you finally feel that you want to be either cutting down on animal products or you want to cut them off altogether. So I've developed 6 steps. These are the things that are really important on your path to being vegan, and some things that you should be aware of, because even within kind of the vegan community and the vegan lifestyle, there are a lot of kind of these little traps, things that are not good for your health. Something that's always been vegan, now it just says it on the box. So number one thing that I find is so important, you should be avoiding processed food. Vegans tend to eat a lot more processed food because suddenly there are things that they're missing out of their diet that they're so used to, and hey, okay, maybe for like a little while you need to have that processed thing that's like a burger or a sausage. You should be reading the ingredients and seeing that you're not like poisoning yourself even worse than you would with like an animal burger. So what do I mean by processed? Processed food is anything that goes under some sort of a process, right? There are highly processed foods, there may be mid-processed foods, there are minimally processed foods. So even say peanut butter, that's a processed food. If they're adding oils to it, for example, or any sort of chemicals to preserve it, that's a pretty processed food. I wouldn't call it like a health food, and I wouldn't consider it healthy. You want to be kind of going toward whole foods more so. You want to have oils, but a minimum amount. The thing is, when you become vegan, you have maybe cravings for carbs or something that resembles meat. So a good substitute would be eating, let's say, mushrooms, if you like mushrooms. Eat tofu or even tempeh, as long as it's not very processed. You just look at the ingredients and see that it doesn't have a lot of stuff, and all the stuff that you are reading that you understand, you understand where it comes from. So for example, I don't know, something like citric acid, that's fine, but something like carrageenan, no. That brings me to my next point number 2, no chemicals. You really want to stay away from things like guar gum, for example. It's in so many things. If you're buying anything in aluminum cans, do it as little as possible. Brands do this because it makes them money, right? The longer the product lasts, the more money that they can make. Point number 3 is, as you've probably guessed it, it's eating whole foods. A good way to avoid these things, processed foods and chemicals, is to just eat whole foods. Buy foods in their natural form. Eat whatever you want and eat as much as you want. As you develop a taste for it, and as your organism and taste buds get cleaner, you'll start to taste food much better. You'll become much more sensitive to the subtleties of the taste. You'll be able to tell fresh fruit from a not so fresh to a super fresh fruit. You'll become really picky about that kind of thing. There's so many different fruits and vegetables and roots and things. There's a ton of combinations. There's so much, and there's already so many vegan recipes out there. Like even if you don't know anything, just like Google it, you'll find like a ton of stuff. It's easy. Try to eat fresh food as much as possible. One thing that people tend to buy a lot is different milks. I drink coconut milk a lot, and sometimes I'll drink soy milk. I find ones that don't have any additives, and I try to buy them fresh and drink them fairly quickly. Oh, here, I'll show this here. I saw this fake cheese that they're selling as a vegan option. So there's carrageenan, which I mentioned is not good, okay? And then there is casein. Casein is like the worst thing you can literally have. It's the chemical basically extracted from, or I don't know, maybe they make it synthetically, but that's the main thing that makes you so addictive to cheese and to milk products. That's basically what nature created originally so that the baby would go to the mother's breast to eat. Literally a drug. That's why cheese and cheese products taste so delicious. I find like this kind of thing, it's worse because they add all these chemicals, and these chemicals, they're not good for the environment, which means it's not good for the animals anyway. So trust me, you're not helping anybody by buying this. Like, you're ruining your health and you're ruining the environment at the same time, and you're making people money, people who don't deserve to make money. So step number 4, this can seem really overwhelming, so really take it one step at a time. Develop a program for yourself. Figure out how fast you want to go. You want to kind of switch over maybe within 3 to 4 months. Usually it takes 4 months to actually form a habit. You know, people say it's 21 days. No, it's actually closer to 4 months. You want to be a vegan, say, for 3.5 months at least, consistently. Then you'll be in the habit of it, and then you can say, okay, maybe I'll do this for half a year. And it depends. I mean, if you want to be a vegan for a week and you can just switch over, then switch over. Some people, they can switch like that. Some people, they need to do like a step-by-step thing. Some people need to use somebody's program. Some people want to develop their own idea of what they want it to look like. So just figure out what works for you and do that. Do not stress yourself out about doing it right or doing it at the right time or having the right products. And even if you cheat, for example, or even if you just cut some products, if you really want to have that cream in your coffee, or if you really just love cheese so much, leave it in for a while, switch and do everything for the 4 months, everything else, and that'll make a difference anyway. I mean, for me, I didn't eat meat for like, I guess, 6 years now. In the last year, I tried eating it again because, again, I was abroad. The thing is, it made a difference for me. Cutting the meat, for example, that made a difference already. And I just switched because I found it tasted really disgusting when I started eating more clean food, and that just happened by accident. At that time, I kind of didn't remember about like my whole love for animals, and I wasn't connecting the dots. Things that had a lot of spices on it and had a lot of flavorings, I liked those. But what I liked was the flavor, not the actual meat. So anyway, my point here is do your own thing. Do enough to make an impact. This one is important. You need to cut the drugs as well. And what I mean by drugs is everything from cigarettes, from drugs, chemical drugs, like weed, alcohol, and even caffeine. If you really love caffeine, and pretty much most of us are addicted to one form of caffeine or another, like leave something small in or have it every few days. I know it doesn't seem like a big deal, but over the years your nervous system gets messed up. Now I have a green tea pretty much every day. If it's easier for you to give up, you're better off giving it up completely. If you can't, whatever, there's one or two things that you need to leave it in, but realize that it's all connected. Your health is really important. I kind of already mentioned this, but it's important to repeat. Don't worry too much. It's important not to stress yourself out about things or put too much pressure on yourself, because when you start doing that, you kind of just like give up easily, or you just say, oh, it's too hard, or this or that. So don't do that. Do as much as you can and just be grateful for every day that you've made a difference and that you're trying. You're not perfect, and nobody expects you to be perfect, and none of us really are. We are perfect in our imperfections. So just accept that and do your best. Be happy. I don't know if you guys saw this one coming, but yeah, you need to be happy about what you're doing. The whole point of this exercise is to make the world and yourself a happier place. So there's not so many clashes, there's not so much pain, there's not so much suffering in the world. Every kind thought, every kind action that you take, it comes back to you, and you may not know or realize how. You'll see. And you'll also see, you'll become more sensitive and life will feel better. I would feel suddenly that I was just happy to be in the sun, or just to be in somebody's company. So that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed my 6 tips, and thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.